Since I was unable to live stream the Iki Island expansion for Ghost of Tsushima because I was having internet issues, I thought it would be fun to do, a discussion, thoughts video with Riley. Hello, Riley.
Hello.
Because we both played the Iki Island expansion already, she got to beat it before I did. Because I spent at least, 2 days waiting patiently to get my upload issue resolved.
Yeah, and it just didn't happen.
No, I finally gave up and decided, you know what, I'll just play it on my own and do a review, which I did last week. Feel free and check it out. And then we also wanted to do our thoughts regarding spoilers from not only the Iki Island expansion, but also, I guess you could say, Ghost of Tsushima itself, because you really can't talk about one without the other.
Right.
So I don't think we'll talk about everything from Ghost of Tsushima main story or Iki Island, but predominantly this will be revolved around the Iki Island expansion. So the first thing I want to talk about is the timeline of Iki Island, because you have the ability to start Iki Island expansion in Act 2. By the way, obviously, spoilers. I think I mentioned spoilers once or twice, so anyone going into the video right now, you have been warned. So, once you get to Iki Island, it doesn't matter if you're in Act 2 or if you've beaten the game. Either way, you can go to Iki Island. However, there is a reason why I think you should go to Iki Island after you beat the main story, and that's because whenever you get drugged by the Eagle, which is the main antagonist of Iki Island, we'll talk more about her in a moment. You can go around the island and you see, I guess you could say, hallucinations, references of things you did throughout the main story of Ghost of Tsushima. And it's all the more reason why I feel like it's rewarding to beat Ghost of Tsushima first before going to Iki Island. And that's why I think that it's technically Act 4 in my opinion.
Right, yeah. But I guess whenever it comes into timeline, I guess it would be literally right after you collect like your Sakai armor. I guess that's when it officially, you could go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Jin from Jarikawa, so.
Yeah, you have... No, so it's not exactly Act 2, is it? Because you end up with the Yarikawa armor, and I guess the only way you can technically get that is by helping out the Yarikawans, right?
Right, so get the armor, go help them, and then I guess you can kind of start it from there.
Yeah, but I thought it was just straight up Act 2, because we had already beaten the game. You know, I beat it on New Game Plus before I started the Iki Island expansion, and you had already beaten it as well. So I thought it was just straight up Act 2, but maybe there's a few missions you have to do.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody knows, let us know in the comment section. But either way, my opinion is that the story of Iki Island is better served and more satisfying as an Act 4.
Yeah, after you beat the main game.
Yeah. Especially with all the hallucinations. Plus, there is lines that Jin says to the Eagle about how he already killed Colton Khan and that 1,000 samurai are following him to Iki Island, which is obviously BS.
Yeah, it was more like an empty threat.
Yeah. So I feel like that line would not exist in the Iki Island playthrough if you hadn't beaten the game or killed Colton Khan by then. So it does make you wonder how flexible the story is. I guess it depends on like how far you progress in the main story of Ghost of Tsushima, the things you will be able to see and reference in Iki Island.
Right.
So it's definitely rewarding to complete the game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say just like I said, just complete the main game and then just go to Iki, so you can get the better experience. Plus, you can get learn more about Jin as a person too, and more of his backstory.
Exactly, we learn a great deal about him, including a lot of time with his mom because of the flute mini games with the monkeys, the cats, and the deer.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. So you learn a lot more about her and how she has shaped Jin as a character. And then we also learn a little bit more about his father, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. Overall, what are your thoughts about the main antagonist, the Eagle?
The Eagle, for the most part, she's just playing mind games with Jin. 99% of the time, he's just on an acid trip. And yeah, she's kind of weak, honestly. Besides, her being in her head, she's barely there. She's just there at the beginning and literally at the end.
Yeah, physically.
Physically, that's just the only 2 times you see her.
Yeah. But yeah, throughout the main story of Iki Island, in between those 2 points, she's more of a psychological foe for Jin.
Yeah.
Because
like she gave you some medicine.
Medicine.
Quote unquote medicine.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. She just gives you that and then you go crazy.
Yeah. And either she's talking to you or she's not talking to you. You really don't know at the end. I guess it's up to the player to decide whether or not she has some sort of psychic link to you with the medicine, the poison. Or is it just all in Jin's head? I guess you could logically just say it's in Jin's head.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it for like most of the NPCs that's been affected by her.
True.
It's all there in their head.
Yeah, exactly. It does something to the person's mind, including Jin's. But eventually Jin has a strong enough willpower to where he eventually is able to resist overcome it. And break through. But unfortunately, a lot of the various characters you'll run across aren't so lucky.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, overall, I don't think the Eagle is as good as an antagonist as Colton Khan.
Yeah, no, Coden's way better.
Yeah, he's way better. He's even Jin's former BFF is a better antagonist, I think.
Yeah, Ryuza.
Yeah, because they have history. You know, they were once friends. They have this kind of rivalry. And then out of nowhere, you know, he turns on him. He does a 180. So there's an established relationship there between the two.
Right.
With the Eagle, all it comes down to is that, you know, some of her loyalists show up on Tsushima, and Jin kills them. And then Yuna and Jin decide that he needs to go to Iki Island to destroy the Eagle and, you know, her Mongols.
Right.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I would say she's the weakest of the three. Just Ryuzo, Koden, and her.
Yeah, I feel like overall, like Ryuzo and Colton Khan were a little bit more of a challenge when it came to fighting them.
Yeah, plus they felt kind of more connected to Jin.
Yeah.
Because Ryuzo, well, like you said, BFF, they were always together.
Yeah.
And Koden, well, it's literally taking him away forever. It's just killing him.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's the connection that Jin hates more Koten than the Eagle.
Yeah.
I guess it's more personal.
It is more personal. I feel like, even though the Eagle obviously does a great deal of atrocities on Iki Island, Colton Khan does way worse on Tsushima by basically destroying almost all the samurai and imprisoning Jin's uncle Shimura, and then turning Ryuzo against him and the Straw Hats, the Ronin. And then, of course, what happens to poor Taka?
Yeah.
You know, poor Taka gets killed by Colton Khan. And then Colton Khan ends up using Jin's poison against him, you know, in Act 3.
And starts killing everybody in Act 3.
Yeah, so I feel like Colton Khan's a way better adversary than the Eagle.
Yeah, it is.
But before DLC expansion, you know, a lower boss, she's okay.
Yeah, she's okay, I guess. Yeah, she's alright.
I would say she's better than the average general you face in
like those spaces.
Exactly.
She does have some story, but she's just weak.
Yeah, I agree. But overall, I mean, she was an okay antagonist. For a DLC antagonist, you're not really expecting anything that rivals the main antagonist.
Right.
But psychologically, that's where you really, like, have to combat her. And the problem, I think, is Jin never really does anything while he's under her influence that ends up becoming problematic. Because I was expecting when we were playing through it that he was going to end up in a fight and he was going to accidentally kill some raiders or some citizens.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Because he thought that they were going to be Mongols coming after him. And, like, once he kills the last one, he's just looking around in shock as he's just, like, laid waste to, like, maybe like a half a dozen or so innocent people or fellow raiders. So I think that was a missed opportunity there. That would have angered him even further, and also, you know, made things a lot more tense between him and the raiders, because him and his family have a little history with Iki Island that they add to the expansion, and you know that revolves around his father. Now, what's interesting is one thing we want to look back at is that they retconned his father's death. Now, his father practically dies the same way as he does in the original game. Now, this is before the director's cut of Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, this is when the game came out.
Exactly, over a year ago. And when we were both, I guess, going through the cutscene on Iki Island when we see his father die, we both noticed some differences.
Yeah, visually. And there are a couple things like the Tenso
Yeah.
quote unquote. Didn't say anything.
Yeah, we're about to get to Tenzo in a minute. But in the original version, it's basically almost exactly the same as the original way his father died. You know, his father died defending Jin from raiders who ultimately killed him. But in the original version of that flashback, it was in the snow. And I think you were basically led to believe that that event took place somewhere on Tsushima. Because it was snowing, you can make the assumption maybe it happened up in the snow part of the map.
Right.
In the past when he was just a boy. And maybe he was ambushed up in the snow by the raiders and, you know, he gave his life to defend his son. But that doesn't turn out to be true.
No. They just completely changed that cutscene just so they could put it on Iki Island.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not really a bad thing,
No.
but yeah, it's just completely changed, so...
Yeah, but it's a retcon for anyone that's paying attention.
Yeah.
Now, if you're playing through the game at first, I get the feeling that they probably, you know, Sucker Punch probably went back and they probably tweaked that flashback in the main game to where it aligns with the Iki Island flashback, so they're one and the same now.
Right. Yeah, I got a New Game Plus a game. I'm going to go test that out.
I think the problem with that is when you do New Game Plus, it puts you, like, past that point.
No, but I think you can still see that cutscene. I think in, like, Act 2 or
it happens after you fall off the bridge, but you might be right. That flashback may appear a couple of times throughout the main story.
Yeah,
so,
it does.
So you might see it again. But, so, what they did was, Sucker Punch, is they decided to give more flashbacks with Jin and his father before Jin's father died. And Jin's father was tasked by Lord Shimura to take several clans, including the Sakai clan, to Iki Island in order to, I guess, take control over it, because it was under the raiders, and I guess the Shogun didn't like that very much, and so the Shogun probably told
Shimura.
Yeah, Lord Shimura, hey, you know, we got to get this back under the control of the Shogunate and under the samurai, so Lord Shimura sends his brother-in-law, you know, Lord Sakai, to Iki Island. And so Lord Sakai goes, Jin goes, and even Lord Adachi goes as well.
Yeah.
So you get some time with Lord Adachi as well, Lady Masako's husband. You only see him at the beginning of the main game. And it shows how brutal the samurai were. It shows a very ugly side of the samurai.
Yeah, they were pretty ruthless against all the raiders.
Yeah, they were. I mean, the raiders were brutal too, but it also shows how nasty the samurai could be. Because when you're playing through Ghost of Tsushima, you see the honorable side of the samurai.
Right.
How they're the defenders of Tsushima and how they're trying to protect it from the invading Mongols. But historically, the samurai also did some pretty nasty things as well.
Right, yeah.
And that's something that can be hard for somebody to understand that doesn't understand history like I do, or, you know, feudal Japan, whenever you're going into the Iki Island expansion, because up until that point, most people are probably like, well, wait a minute, I thought the samurai weren't like that. Yeah, they were pretty brutal to anybody that resisted them. They weren't afraid of, you know, lobbing some heads off, even if it was citizens that defied them.
Right, yeah.
It was just a way more brutal time. And it shows that his father was definitely far from perfect and had his own issues. And there was like a camp scene whenever he was like basically telling his lieutenants, I want 50 heads or something.
Yeah, that one's a little too far.
Yeah. And I do like the fact that it's a personal journey from Jin, where he has all this regret about, you know, not protecting his father at that point. And then by the time you get to the end of the main story, you come to realize that, you know, it wasn't Jin's fault.
Right.
That the reason why he was ultimately killed by the raiders is because of everything, you know, those samurai were doing on Iki Island. And the fact the raiders were, in a weird way, kind of the good guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they did bad stuff too, but at the end of the day, they were the defenders of the island. And there's a plot twist that happens that feels a little contrived. Now, we are introduced to two characters, Tenzo, as well as Funi. You want to talk about them?
Yeah, Tenso is the raider that saves you after you drink the magic juice from the eagle.
Magic juice.
Or whatever. But yeah, you meet him, he rescues you, and then you're supposed to take care of him and go find Fune. And he's an alright character, he seems pretty trustworthy.
And who is Fune?
And then you get to Fune, and she has like some samurai armor, I think, right?
She has armor, but she's the leader of the raiders.
Yeah, but yeah, she's like that, and At first, she doesn't like you.
No, of course not.
She's like,
they don't.
Samurai.
They don't exactly like samurai on Iki Island because of what happened 15 years ago.
Yeah, bad history.
And they hate Sakai, and that's the reason why Jin, whenever he gets to the island, he cannot wear his Sakai armor.
And goes by another name.
Yeah, so he goes by Jin of Arakawa.
Yarikawa.
Yeah, Yarikawa. I mispronounced it. My bad.
Yeah, but he gets revealed pretty quickly, like in the third or fourth story mission by Tenzo.
Yeah, Tenzo finds out that he is actually a Sakai. But Tenzo keeps it a secret, but then we find out a secret about Tenzo as well.
Yeah, so we're 50-50 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I mean, Tenzo was alright. I mean, I liked him.
Yeah, I liked him too. Overall, I liked him. I thought Fune was okay. But the twist is one that I wish that they wouldn't have done. But I understand why they did it for dramatic effect, right?
Right.
Now, obviously, Raiders killed Jin's father. One Raider in particular. And guess which Raider it turned out to be?
The one that rescues you. I think that's kind of the thing. You just meet him and you just spend time with him so you can kind of feel for him. It's like, god damn it. It's like, at least they didn't do the whole Lord Shimura thing. It's like, do I kill him or do I save him? At least they didn't do that.
Yeah, the game didn't really give you an option there. I mean, there's dialogue options that will pop up randomly just like in the main story. But at the same time, no. I mean, you end up not killing Tenzo, even though Jin obviously wants to, because he was the one who ultimately gave his father the final death blow.
Right. So he kind of did it. He put his tanto on his throat, but thanks to the eagle. I mean, it's like, yeah, you know what? You want the eagle dead? I want the eagle dead. Let's just do it then, and I'm just gonna fuck off then.
Yeah, they put aside their differences in the end to fight a common foe, just like they did at the beginning, because Tenzo at the time, whenever he rescued Jin, knew that Jin was a samurai. He didn't know yet he was a Sakai. He finds that out later, and then Jin finds out later that Tenzo is the very one that killed his father. But then, before the end of the main story, I think Jin comes to understand why his father was killed and why the Raiders launched the ambush against him and his father, because of everything his father did to the people of Iki Island.
Right.
In fact,
so his father's not technically an angel here either.
No, nobody's really an angel here. No one's an angel. No one's a complete demon. You know, everyone has their flaws. I mean, you have some good moments with Jin and his father in the flashbacks, but you also see how different his father is from him.
Right.
And at the end, Jin accepts that it wasn't his responsibility. It wasn't his fault that his father died. That it was on his father. It was the choices his father made. And ultimately, Jin decides he doesn't want to be like his father.
Right. Yeah, and this is something that also bothers me about the main story, is the fact that basically the timeline thing. Yeah. It's like, when you go to Iki Island, you're a samurai, basically. Mm-hmm. But at the end of Act 3, it's like after you meet the main game, like, Jin isn't a samurai. Yeah. Well, not anymore, but he still refers as a samurai.
Yeah, it's an inconsistency that I wish that they would have resolved. So, because you're right. Like, he's no longer a samurai. Like, at the end of Act 2, Lord Shimura is like, you are no longer a samurai whenever he gets imprisoned, right? For doing what he did, you know, by poisoning all the Mongols and once again disobeying his uncle's orders and refusing to throw Yuna under the bus, you know, because the shogun was going to demand a head after all that. Right. So he was no longer a samurai. So, yeah, I mean, I think that was something that Sucker Punch should have tweaked, is say, hey, you know, I'm not a samurai, but technically he still is a samurai, but he's no longer a lord.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, something that does bother me, because he's not a samurai, at least at 3, post-launch. Yeah. He's not a samurai, so...
Yeah, he's the ghost now.
Yeah, he's the ghost, so whenever you go to... Which is why this is another thing with the timeline. It's like, he's wearing his I cannot be seen in this armor. I gotta wear the Yarikawa armor. Mm-hmm. So this is technically Act 2, Act 3-ish, kinda.
It's supposed to be, but we're gonna get to reasons why I believe it's technically Act 4.
Okay.
Now, for one thing, yeah, it's strange that he cannot wear the Sakai armor, but he can wear the ghost armor.
Yeah, I literally just went there with the ghost armor with the cape of Sakai.
Yeah, I mean, a big fat Sakai logo on the back of the cape. And nobody even bats an eye about it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it does remind me, because at least in one cutscene, when it comes to the archery challenges, somebody mentions that.
Really?
Yeah, somebody's, at least with the archer outfit, the Tayadori armor.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Tayadori's an evil demon, he's a bad guy. And it's like, really? Okay, what if I switch outfits to the Tayadori armor? And the dude's like, what the hell are you wearing?
Really?
Yeah, he does that. What are you wearing?
Well, I mean,
so they do it with some random NPC to unlock another archery challenge.
yeah. You know, it's possible that maybe they just anticipated that people were going to want to wear their ghost armor, and they decided, well, if we lock the ghost armor, then that might upset some people. So maybe they decided, nah, we'll just lock the Sakai armor for half of the, 75% of the main story of Iki Island, I guess. But the reason why I think that it makes more sense for Iki Island to take place after the events of the main story of Ghost of Tsushima are logical. For one thing, he gets on a boat with your favorite character, Boatman.
Boatman.
Boatman is so awesome. He's in the episode for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then
He
he's
just talks to you, and then literally in the next cutscene, he's dead.
He's dead. But he gets a burial, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's true.
But, like, logically, like, you're taking a boat from Tsushima to Iki Island, which is probably a few miles, maybe a few hundred miles in real life between these two islands.
Yeah.
So Jin's not exactly going to be able to, hop on a jet and fly back and forth.
No.
So it makes sense for him to hop on a boat after he's done with Tsushima, wanted by the Shogun,
To escape.
to not really escape, but to go take care of Iki Island, because historically what happens is, first off, the Mongols in the first invasion, they go from Korea to Tsushima to Iki Island, and then they attempt to invade the mainland of Japan, and are ultimately defeated in the first invasion at the Battle of Hakata Bay. And Hakata Bay is actually referenced low-key in one of the missions.
Right.
So it makes sense for him to go from Tsushima to Iki Island after the main story for that reason alone. The other is because of all the references that happen after you get poisoned by the eagle, as we talked about a moment ago. If you ride around the island, not rushing through the main story of Iki Island like you did,
Throwing shade.
you actually get to see a whole bunch of references that pop up, including one, if you made the choice to kill Lord Shimura, you see that reference. Now, I get the feeling if you did the opposite, if you chose not to kill Lord Shimura at the end of the main story, you'd probably see the other ending.
Right. Yeah, but that's also another thing, because I technically chose both endings. Because, and back in the PS4, I planned in the game, and I killed him.
Yeah.
And I got it at PS5, and I let him live. So I should technically have both profiles.
Well, technically, but remember your save file.
True, but I still have all my stuff.
You have the trophies, and you have the stuff that you got for Legends, but then you had to completely start over on the PS5.
I guess. Yeah, you're right.
And this was before the director's cut came out, by the way. But I would like to believe that no matter what choice you made with Shimura, and let me know for any of you that ended up going and checking out all the different references. When you came across Shimura, did he have the one where you kill him? After you kill him and he says how he loved him and he honored him with a warrior's death, like, father and son type of situation? Or did you do the other ending, and did you get that ending instead as a reference? I really would like to know, because I really feel like one of those endings need to be made canon. And you know which one I think needs to be canon.
Yeah, where he dies.
Yeah, because it makes the most sense, because it's honoring the samurai code. Even though Jin's no longer a samurai, no longer sees himself as a samurai, he knows his uncle is a samurai. He believes in that. He's extremely religious when it comes to his belief in the samurai code. He's so strict about it, he won't even try to do one thing different. Well, I mean, he did a few things. He bent it a little.
Right.
With the watchas, whenever they were firing on the boats when Goro was escaping back to Outworld. Oh, I'm sorry, that's wrong, Goro. But, there were times when Shimura most of the time didn't exactly bend. Whenever Jin was trying to reason with him about how the way we're fighting the Mongols is not working, we have to adapt. But, his uncle refused to do that, which ultimately led to conflict between them. So, at the end of the day, despite how Jin might feel about his uncle and his beliefs, He still loves him and respects him, and would honor him a warrior death. And that's why I think it's the canonical ending. Plus, I think the white armor looks better than the red armor.
Yeah, that's true.
But I just wish that they would have just, I guess, made it to where you had to beat the main story of Ghost of Tsushima before this unlocked. Now, some people, like you've pointed out, may have had a save file issue, and maybe they didn't want to beat the game again. And to answer that question, why not? It's a great game. I played through it like 3 times now. Once on the PS4, once on the PS5. Because my thing didn't save over either. And this was prior to Director's Cut. And then I beat it again on New Game Plus. So I enjoyed playing through it 3 times. But for some people, I understand them not wanting to do so. But overall, I did enjoy the story of Iki Island. It, in my opinion, wasn't as good as the main story of Ghost of Tsushima, but for a story DLC, for an expansion, I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was alright. I'll give it maybe like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7 out of 10, I think that's good. If I say, the main story is like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, the main story's a 9 for me.
Yeah. A 9 out of 10 for the main story, and a 7 out of 10 for the secondary story, and a 1 out of 10 for the Ghost of Iki Island.
Yeah.
Freaking Kenji.
I swear.
That was hilarious. But
that was a nice twist.
I didn't think it was going to be Kenji, though. I thought it was going to be, the dude that pretends to be a samurai in Act 1.
Yeah, the other side of honor.
Because he had to have ended up going somewhere, right? That guy. Once he was outed by Jin. It would have just been funny if he ended up in Iki Island pretending to be the ghost. And once again, doing the same damn thing, right?
Right.
But it turned out to be Kenji. And that's the other thing, okay? So if this did take place in Act 2, that means Kenji goes from Act 2 to Iki Island on a separate boat.
Yeah, because he doesn't get any Act 3 missions.
Well,
No, he doesn't.
He's there at the end, though. He has to go get the watches. He's the one that goes and gets the watches for the final battle. And he's at the final battle against Golden Khan. So he is there.
Oh, yeah.
He is in Act 3.
Right.
Yeah, for once.
No, but I mean, like, any, main quest missions.
No, I mean, but he is there whenever you regroup with everybody, at that one fort on the far...
No, you're right, yeah.
Yeah. So he is Kenji does play an important part in Act 3. He doesn't have his own side stories like the others do. Like the Sensei does, or Lady Masako.
Right.
But at the same time, what is he doing? Is he going back and forth as well from Tsushima to Iki Island?
Yeah.
Plus, you have the Mongol fleet to contend with. How are they sneaking back and forth? Because it was already established how difficult that was. But I don't know. I mean, it was funny. So I think it would make more sense in that regard for Kenji to also have gone at the end of the main story of Tsushima, from Tsushima to Iki Island, obviously on a separate boat. But for him to be going back and forth at the same time as Jin going back and forth, that does not make sense.
Right. Also, did you get the ending? Did you see where he last ends?
Yeah, where the Raiders are. They're sweet.
Yeah, he stays there.
Yeah.
That's where his final stay is.
Yeah. So that's where you find Kenji. You just come across him.
Yeah.
He's just standing there and he tries to pretend he's somebody else. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. That's Kenji. Never learns.
No. But he has a good heart, though, so that's what matters. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Iki Island expansion. And, some things that I liked about it and some things I thought were interesting and where it should fit in the timeline. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah. What about your favorite character? Best girl Minato. You told me you loved her.
Oh, yeah. We only see her, once at her camp when we're going to get the armor, right?
Yeah.
The pirate's armor?
Yeah.
And then we never see her again.
Nope, but that's Minato for you. You loved her. But it was for a couple seconds.
You think Yuna's the only one for him? Or do you think that's...
Yeah, Yuna is the best girl. You can't replace her.
Well, what about Tomoe?
Tomoe?
Yeah.
She'll for the mainland. We don't want her.
You never know.
No, we don't want her. She's out of here. Bye.
She's too much of a bad girl.
No, I'm the best archer. She cannot stay here.
Oh, it's a little jealousy you have. Okay, I see how it is.
Yeah, no, she needs to get out.
Yeah. I really wonder if they ever do a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
Like in the mainland?
Yeah, on the mainland. At least like the bottom portion of the mainland. Now the invasion didn't last very long, but video game, they could simply just say that they took half the island and Jin goes in and manages to help the Shogun.
So what would they call it? Ghost of Japan? That could be, instead of Ghost of Tsushima, it could be the Ghost of series.
Ghost of Tsushima Path of the Shinobi or something. Because Obviously, he's going to become a shinobi if they continue. I mean, he technically is a shinobi.
Right.
So if you want to have an official, like, name for Jin Sakai now, if he's not a samurai anymore, he's a shinobi. And maybe, his actions convinced the shogun that the shinobi could actually serve a purpose, for the Japanese Empire.
Right.
So, I don't know. But anyways, that's just speculation. I did do a ideas video for future content for the franchise, future DLCs or stories. One of those happened to be about Iki Island. And
you got your wish.
Yeah, lo and behold, it turned out to be the expansion. So we'll see how it goes. I hope that there's at least one more game or two more games, because there was a second invasion years later.
Right.
The Mongols tried again, and they failed again. But I think that's pretty much when it comes to the Iki Island story. Connected to any other thoughts regarding the main story of Ghost of Tsushima, I think that's all we pretty much had to say. Now, we want to know your thoughts, your views, your opinions regarding the main story, the characters, everything that went down on Iki Island, as well as where you think it fits in the timeline. Is it flexible? Is it fluid? Is it dependent on where you decide to go into Iki Island? Or do you think that it should take place after the events of Act 3, the main story of Ghost of Tsushima? And do you think that the canonical ending is Shimura being killed honorably or spared by Jin Sakai, a.k.a. the Ghost? Feel free and let us know below in the comments section.